Hi there, I hope you are doing well. So in this tutorial we are going to just execute this very first code, and in this code I will explain you each line of code, that what each line of code is performing. First of all, let me terminate this program and let me run it again. LangGraph dev. Okay, so LangGraph dev, it will be automatically opening your browser. So make sure to set your environment variables clearly. Everything you will need to set up: LangSmith tracing, LangSmith endpoint, LangSmith API key. I have already explained that how you will get this LangSmith API key, and this will be defined by you, and LangSmith true is a constant and LangSmith endpoint is also a constant. Okay, further you can follow this readme file also. So in this minimal chatbot, like in this simple graph, what it is going to perform, how it is being structured, how it is being developed. So we have used multiple libraries from LangGraph and LangChain. So this annotation, first of all, this is kind of module of this is kind of it is a type from typing module of Python, and being used to provide more metadata to chatbot about a specific message. How? I will explain you. So this is, again, we are using typedict. It is a dictionary type structure that we are using in a state. So all the state will be managed in a dictionary type. And then we have this class state graph. We are importing from graph module, module of LangGraph. And these start and end are markers being used to basically tell us the starting and ending point of graph. And then add messages is again a function to add the messages or append the messages in a dictionary. And then this initialize chat model we are importing from langchain.chat models class. This function will be used to initialize our chatbot large language model. And here we are importing our environment variables with these simple commands from .env import load.env and load.env, okay, and brackets. So basically it will automatically load our .env. We will not need to specify each key separately. Okay, so it will automatically fetch the env from your code environment or code directory. Make sure to follow this structure, and if you will just keep setup.py in less than 0.1, then you will not be able to run this code. Okay, so you will need to follow this structure. So we are going to create a class called as state, and we are providing it a typedict. Means the structure of this class will be like type dictionary structure type, and then messages annotate. We are using here annotation to tell the chatbot that each message will be in the form of list, and each new message will be added in that list instead of replacing existing one. So all the messages will be added in this state, okay, in the form of list. And this, you can call this as a memory for chatbot. Like it will contain all the interaction, all the conversation, all the intermediate steps and runs of our queries and questions and each input. Here we are building graph, and we are using a state graph class from LangGraph and providing it as state that we have just defined here. And what this state will do, it will just append each message in this state, and so that chatbot can memorize the previous instruction, okay, and previous conversation and previous calls, you can say, okay, and previous traces, you can say as well, or run. Yeah, so here we just defined here our chatbot LLM. Sorry, we have just defined here LLM using init chat model, and we are using anthropic model. We have already defined anthropic API key in .environment variables, and we are using temperature 0.7 to get more creative responses. Okay, and you can keep it 0 as well, and you can even remove it. Okay, so here we are just defining our first node, which is a chatbot. Here we have just one node, two edges. One edge is connected with the starting point and one edge is connected with the ending point. These are not nodes, these are just edges, okay, and with one node we have two edges. So what this function will do, it will basically return the output of our input. So you can see llm.invoke. When we are invoking, invoke is a function to basically run the call. So when we are invoking the call, so we are passing whole state, and this state contains all the messages. Like here we have just defined this structure that all the messages will be appended in this state. So we are directly providing this LLM call whole state, okay, and so that it will before running or executing our query, it will also check our whole instruction or conversation, and it will keep that record, okay, and then it will return the response of our query and will append that output and input in state again, okay. So and then we have just defined here one node, very first node, which is a chatbot, okay, and then here we have just connected the chatbot. We have just connected this start marker or starting point, entry point with our chatbot. This is going to be edge 1, this is going to be edge 2, like this start from chatbot, okay, start to chatbot, and then chatbot to end, okay, this is another edge chatbot to end, and then we are just compiling it, okay. So now if I ask it, let's execute the state, let's execute the first query of state, hi. So in this so now it says hello, how I can help you. So now this message is appended to the state, okay. So in this state, now if I ask it, hey, what is AI, okay, so now the second query we have just run within one trace, it will be appended to the state as well, and now this whole is called as state, okay. It is containing all the intermediate steps and all of our interaction and all of our messages. So if I give it another query, what is ML, okay, just say thanks. Now it will say you're welcome, let me know if you have any further questions. So this is how we can test it, run it, this simple graph on LangGraph, on LangSmith Studio. And if I show you its traces, this is our project, and here are all the traces. So this is the benefit of LangSmith, we can evaluate, trace, monitor everything. So if I just open this trace, yeah, so here you can see within this trace I have whole state. Like first I said hi, then I said hello, how are you, and what then it's just said hello, how I can help you. Then I said what is AI, then I said thanks, it says you're welcome. So this was basically the trace of thanks, but this thanks, the trace of thanks query contain whole state, okay, because we are passing whole state with input query. So this is something, what is the state and how it is going to be executed, what is the latency, how much time it took 1.09 seconds, how much tokens were basically here executed to 281, because we are passing whole state, and therefore it is being executed all the query, all the tokens. And then in first, when we said hi in first query, only few tokens were basically executed, or we can say, yeah, 20 tokens only. It said hello, how I can help you, and then we were just appending the state, same state with number of queries. So now this one trace contains runs, like this one run, second run, something like this. So this is how we can basically run our very first minimal LangGraph app. And make sure to follow this structure and clone my repo and just follow the readme file and run this app. And I have already explained you the concept of this edges and nodes. So yeah, so if you have any question, you can just comment out below, and make sure to subscribe my channel. I will make further videos in depth to explain these concepts in easy words. Thank you.